This is a 2011 Rolls-Royce Ghost. In this video, we're going to take a look at the exterior and interior features so that if you were to go to a dealership or see one on the street, you'll know a little bit more about the car. First things first, this is Rolls-Royce's smaller vehicle. They haven't done a smaller vehicle in a number of decades. Again, that's a very relative statement, though. This is, being a Rolls-Royce, is much, much larger than other vehicles on the road, bigger than the larger sedans by BMW and Mercedes. Actually, this car borrows a lot of features from the BMW 7 Series, as BMW is, of course, the parent of Rolls-Royce. If you put this car next to any of the Phantom line, including the smaller coupe models, it is a bit smaller. It was meant more as a driver-oriented car. As such, the driver experience is closer to that of driving a BMW. So as you can see, it keeps that iconic Rolls-Royce grille, as well as the Spirit of Ecstasy. Like Rolls-Royces, if you lock the car, Spirit of Ecstasy hides itself inside. If you unlock it, out it comes again. That's an option you can set inside the vehicle, whether or not you want it to do that automatically or manually. There's a little bit of debate of whether or not that slight overbright, where the license plate is, made by the grille, is something that was a nice feature in this car or not. I'll leave that up to your decision. Like other Rolls-Royces, the standard wheel has that center logo which stays upright no matter where the wheel is, so while it's driving and while it's parked. Let's take a look inside. Again, like Rolls-Royces you've seen before, they place an umbrella inside the driver's door. There's a drying mechanism inside so that if you live in a more humid climate, you won't start to grow mold. Okay, here we are. I apologize for the flex on the lens. There's a bit of dust that got inside the camera. So this car actually, again, borrows a lot from the BMW 7 Series. This is actually a keyless ignition, so we'll go ahead and start the car. There you can see the iDrive window has popped up. Again, very common among BMWs, and it has been borrowed heavily by Rolls-Royce. Turn down the music. So, if you've used iDrive before, you'll notice that this is actually really similar to the iDrive on a current BMW. I should note that although this is the 2011 Rolls-Royce Ghost, the new models come out in the fall, approximately the time this video is being made. So as of right now, the 2011 Rolls-Royce in fall of 2011 is the most recent Rolls-Royce Ghost model. So in that sense, having driven a 2012 BMW 7 Series, a lot of these features are similar. And the controls. Now, the one thing they did add, or in the settings, you can actually adjust things like the Spirit of Ecstasy, which is to set, as I said, whether the hood ornament goes up, down automatically, or if you want to raise it or lower it. Let's say you're going into a car wash. There she goes. And raising that back up. Beyond that, I'm not going to get too into detail about the iDrive system, other than to say that they did modernize it. One problem with the Phantom series, even the most recent Phantom series, as I mentioned in a previous video about the most recent drop-head coupe, is that they still, for some reason, use the much older and much more cumbersome BMW iDrive system. Alright, enough about that. Let's take a look in the car. Let's take a look at the features. Again, common to the Rolls-Royce, we have very nice old-fashioned dials. Specifically, instead of an RPM meter, we have the power reserve, which lets you know basically how much will the car has left. And this car can really haul if you wanted to. It isn't really a car you buy for the 0 to 60 factor, but it can do 100 very quickly, very easily, and does what you want it to do on a freeway. This car features a heads-up display. As you can see with the sun right outside, you can see the reflection along with the dashboard. One nice feature, you can add other things up there, including your nav or lane departure detection. I just like to have that speedometer up there because that's a a nice feature in any car. Again, that's something that is available in the BMW 7 Series. The wheel again echoes the previous Rolls-Royce wheel, the thin frame along with a big chunky middle. It's a little bit more driver-oriented in that it's a nice rubber feel to it. It gives you a little bit better grip. Again, like other Rolls-Royces, they use these classic air vents with, they like to call them the pipe plug-in toggles to close and open them. Let's go through the features really quick. Again, the finish is nice. They did this nice spirit of ecstasy on the woodwork. One complaint, and you can kind of see it happening right there, I wish they wouldn't put reflective material in certain parts of cars, and this has a very reflective chrome finish, which at certain times can blind the driver. Again, that's something that just had to do with this particular car's design. Again, fairly standard window and side mirror controls. This again harkens back to a more traditional Rolls-Royce with the light options. This is for turning on and off your heads-up display. This is for lane departure detection, which will cause the steering wheel to vibrate if it notices you are leaving the lane. How does it know you're leaving the lane? There's a camera in this portion of the rear view mirror, which is pointing forward. When it senses any kind of lines in the road, dotted or straight, it will warn you. And if you start to depart, the wheel will vibrate sort of like a cell phone. Except, you know, it's a good reminder if that's something you require. Again, you have your parking brake, automatic parking brake. Now, let's take a quick look. There are several cameras in the car. Like the BMW, there is a nose camera, so that if you stick the car out, you can see on either side. That yellow line demarks the front of the actual car, so that you know where it is. There's also a parking meter. There's several different cameras. This combines cameras underneath the side view mirrors, as well as the camera in the back of the trunk, to sort of show you the area surrounding the car. Now that red line shows you your maximum turning radius, and the green line that's appearing shows you where the car will go with where the wheel is now. Something that's nice for parallel parking. I don't really need this particular feature. However, the one that I do welcome is the rear camera for backing in. I like to put all of the bells and whistles up. It can just be the camera, but what this does is it shows you again where your steering wheel is going, and those red lines show you the extreme turning radius of the vehicle from the position where it's in now. In addition, it has the radar that BMW's had for many years, just sort of showing you where objects are. I use that to some extent, but you know, I prefer the seeing things a little bit better. These are options, again, that you can find on any BMW, particularly the 7 Series. So this car has a lot of venting. I mean, the air conditioning on this car is ferocious if you want it to be. This sends air right to the back, and these are, again, two adjustable. Your entertainment system for the radio is right here. You can not only program radio stations, but you can also program phone numbers and other things into these numbers. So that's a nice feature that they've started to put into these vehicles. This is, again, a more traditional air conditioning by Rolls-Royce, with the variable knobs for the higher and lower vents, as well as these humidifiers, humidity sensors, pardon me, that they always have had in these cars, as well as your seat heater, seat ventilation for both seats, and your standard defrost, recirculate air, and to turn off the air conditioner. The only place inside it actually says it's a ghost, or even on the outside, is right here on the dashboard, just above the glove box. It's a nice clock. It's a very subtle statement. It's kind of I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Again, here's the glove box. Now, traditionally, in a Rolls-Royce Phantom, this is where you'd find the controls to manually control or automatically control the Spirit of Ecstasy. Since they put it in the iDrive, the glove box is much simpler. All it has is a compartment for your disc changer. The appointments are quite nice. One odd thing, and this is one other minor complaint. The seats are very comfortable, but in terms of points of articulation, the 7 Series by BMW offers many more. For example, the upper part of the seat on a BMW 7 Series can bend up a little bit forward or bend a little bit backwards. This seat pretty much is as you can see it. Top section, bottom section, headrest. There is fully adjustable 10-way direction as you need. However, in terms of just the number of features, the seats on a BMW tend to be a little bit more flexible. This seat does have the additional option of having a seat massager, which you can also find on a 7 Series, in addition to the 2-seat memory that BMW likes to do. I prefer 3-seat memory, but again, that's just BMW style. So here we have the top console. In addition, oh, just before I forget, like BMW, you can program in garage door openers into these features, which are again in the side view mirror. In the upper console, you have your lights, your reading lights, you know, the full light. It has ambient lights, of course, that most cars have nowadays. Here's your SOS button for contacting emergency services. And this is to control the moonroof or the sunroof. This roof is actually quite large on this vehicle, as you can see. It's 3-panel. So let's go ahead and retract that. So as you can see, you have a solid panel, and then you have this panel, which can go up and down in all the traditional movements that you'd expect out of such a roof. Let's go ahead and reclose that. Now, in terms of other storage, you have cup holders. This is, again, your iDrive control. Very standard. If you've ever used the BMW, especially the more recent BMWs, you'll be familiar with this. They have the base menu, your hotkeys to get to radio, CD, telephone, or map. This car also can save music. It's got a multi-gigabyte hard drive on it. Again, hazard lights, your door lock. That's actually something that on these cars, various luxury cars, some people get confused. Where did they put the door lock in the vehicle? Thankfully, they put one by the window controls and one here. This is to raise and lower the suspension, or pardon me, the profile of the car as you might need to clear a large bump or what have you. And here you have your ashtrays or CD, or pardon me, iPhone holders or whatever you'd like to call it. Just additional storage, space for a phone. They still love to have that thing in there, although I don't think anyone uses a phone like that anymore. As well as storage and additional plugs. Alright, let's go and take a look at, oh, and also, again, you have control for all the features in the car, most of the features that the driver would want: music, phone, cruise control in the steering wheel. This particular knurled knob controls the radio or other features. So as you can see, you can just roll through the radio stations if you'd like to. Okay, let's go take a look in the back. So the rear doors are the suicide doors that Rolls-Royce is known for, or carriage doors as they like to call them. Again, they open almost completely out, so you have a really nice entry. Now, it's a little difficult to close a door like this. It's quite a big reach, and I have pretty decent wingspan. So what Rolls-Royce has done in these recent models is they've added a button over here. Close the door. Alright. As we can see, the luxury appointments abound. You have 2 vents right here, again, sort of smaller versions of the classic Rolls-Royce vent. More speakers in the car's incredible sound system. And we have video and a tray table. The tray table that Rolls-Royce has had has always been almost a desk, as you can see, with a nice wood finish. They've added this to help catch larger things in the age of laptops, so if you feel like doing a deal in the back of your car, doing some typing, there you go. Now let's pull out the central console. Now again, in a BMW 7 Series, you'll find the central console looks very similar to this, just with a few minor tweaks. Again, you have additional storage, complete seat controls, including seat massage, which all 4 chairs in this particular car have, and then an additional cup holders. So let's take a quick look over here. There is the rear AC control, in addition to the disc player for the back, as well as audio-visual inputs and headphone jacks. Now here we have iDrive again. So what does this work towards? Well, let's take a look. We'll pull this screen over here. We'll select this particular screen. As you can see, the arrows select the two screens. There we go. Oh, looks like the radio is on in this one. So, anyway, you can adjust the volume from any seat in the car. Just push this up, and then from there, make the volume louder, softer. There we go. So there you go. Go ahead and put that back. Again, it's fairly straightforward. You have your vehicle lights right up here. In terms of a mirror, they actually put the side mirror over here instead of a mirror coming right out the top like you would, again, in a BMW 7 Series. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trunk and engine, and then we'll be done. The trunk on this car is, as you'd believe, quite spacious. That was a blanket that came with the car. This particular model, through the dealership. Again, strong trunk, large trunk. Automatic trunk feature, just like you'd find on a BMW. So let's go ahead and take a look under the hood. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot. It's a really hot day where I'm at right now. It's about 90 something. Alright, there she is. Rolls-Royce V12, manufactured in Germany, like most of this car actually. I'd say about 55% of this car is manufactured in Germany, then it is finished off in England by Rolls-Royce. This engine produces 570 pounds of torque and produces 563 horsepower. It just goes. Well, that's the car for you. It's making a lot of noise right now because it's trying to cool itself down in this hot day. I hope it was useful, and thank you for watching.